For a long time, I was living a life that didn't match my true purpose, but then suddenly the universe took everything from me overnight. What hurt the most wasn't the money or the shame, but the loneliness. I had no friends, no partner, no one to trust. This emptiness made me look for answers about the meaning of loneliness and what it really means for the chosen ones. I found that for those called to a higher purpose, loneliness isn't a punishment, but an invitation to awaken extraordinary. For a long time, I was living a life that didn't match my true purpose. Then, out of the blue, I lost everything. What hurt the most wasn't the money or the shame, though. It was the loneliness. I had no friends, no partner, and no one to trust. This emptiness made me want to know what loneliness really means for the chosen ones. I figured out that for those called to a higher purpose, loneliness isn't a punishment. It's an invitation to awaken extraordinary abilities that most people don't know about. If you're a chosen one, you know that moments of isolation are more than just being alone. They're opportunities for deep transformation. It's in solitude that you find yourself, discover hidden strengths, and awaken powers that few can understand. Here are 5 superpowers that the chosen ones acquire during their periods of solitude, which they rarely share with others. 1. Icehead steely nerves and emotional control. Solitude is a barren, silent land. Here are 5 superpowers that the chosen ones acquire during their periods of solitude, which they rarely share with others. 1 is the Icehead steely nerves and emotional control. Solitude is a barren and silent land, but it's where the chosen are molded. It's no wonder that this gift, the Icehead, is rare and misunderstood. Many see the coldness of the chosen as inhumanity or insensitivity. But what few know is that behind this serenity lies an intense battlefield where the soul of the chosen has been forged in the heat of solitude and direct confrontation with their darkest shadows. Imagine a place where external voices are silenced and the only company is the thoughts that echo incessantly. In this silence, the chosen ones have to face themselves without any distractions. There's nowhere to run. It's a battle against the oldest fears, insecurities that go way back to childhood, and the pain life has dealt them. It's like the chosen one is in a spiritual desert, a place where emotions are amplified and the mind non-stop tries to escape the harsh reality of the self. This desert is like a refining furnace. Think of the story of Jesus, who spent 40 days and nights in the desert by himself. Food without water, facing the deepest temptations. The devil appeared, offering what many would consider a dream, power, wealth, and ease. But Jesus, in his solitude, showed that he had more self-control than any worldly offer. This test wasn't just about resisting external temptations. It was about strengthening the spirit so that nothing could distract him from his purpose. Similarly, the chosen ones are taken to their own deserts, where they face not an external enemy, but internal temptations. Solitude makes those inner voices louder, fear of failure, shame of the past, feeling like you're not good enough. Each of these feels like a real enemy. It's a fight where the chosen one must decide between giving up or getting the strength that only being alone can give. This change doesn't happen right away. Think of a process like alchemy, where lead becomes gold. It's the same for the chosen ones. They go through a constant process of emotional cleaning, where each painful solitude brings out the worst in us, like fear of failure, shame, and feeling like we don't measure up. It's a real battle inside our heads. It's like a transformation into gold from lead, or a kind of emotional purification where each painful experience is analyzed, understood, and turned into wisdom. In these moments of solitude, we become our own alchemists, working hard to turn our anger into compassion, our frustration into patience, and our fears into courage. Picture this, a chosen one sitting alone, staring at a white wall. No distractions, no screens, just the sound of their own heartbeat. In this silence, memories come back, past mistakes resurface, and doubts about the future get stronger. This is when the real work begins. The mind tries to flee, but the chosen one, with almost military discipline, brings their focus back to themselves. It's like a daily training for a spiritual warrior, preparing for battles that no one else sees. While others seek immediate relief in conversations, social networks, or other forms of distraction, the chosen one faces everything head-on. They learn to calm their minds, take a deep breath, and let emotions flow without clinging to them. Each solitude session is a lesson in self-mastery. At first, it's all chaos, but over time, the chosen one becomes the master of their inner kingdom, where storms may come, but never topple their fortress. This ice head is more than just emotional control, it's a form of survival. The chosen ones know that to fulfill their purpose, they need to be resilient in a way that most cannot. Mastery. At first, chaos reigns, but over time, the chosen one becomes the master of their inner kingdom, where storms may come, but never topple their fortress. This ice head is more than just emotional control, it's a form of survival. The chosen ones know that to fulfill their purpose, they need to be resilient in a way that most cannot. Understand, it's not that they don't feel pain, but they've developed the ability not to surrender to it. Like trees that bend with the wind but don't break, the chosen ones adapt, adjust, and remain standing. In practice, this ice head manifests in various ways. When the world around them is panicking, the chosen one remains serene. In heated, they're the ones who talk less, but what they say hits you like a punch. They get that not every fight is worth it, and sometimes the real win is just not reacting at all. This is a superpower you don't see every day, because not a lot of people can keep their emotions in check like this. The peace the chosen ones find isn't just about not being stressed. Conflict, but rather, it's about being in control of what affects them. It's a peace that was hard-won through unseen tears and silent prayers. While many spend their energy trying to change the external world, the chosen dedicate themselves to changing themselves. They understand that true power lies in what no one can take away, control over their own spirit. X-ray vision, the ability to see beyond what's right in front of you. There's something special about the chosen that sets them apart. It's a vision that goes beyond what's obvious. It's not about seeing with your physical eyes, but with the eyes of your soul. This X-ray vision power is more than a metaphor. It's a spiritual ability developed in solitude when the chosen become silent observers of the world and people around them. In the quiet, far from distractions that confuse most, the chosen sharpen their sensitivity to see what others hide. While many live only on the surface of things, the chosen dive deep, capturing subtleties and details that escape common vision. Imagine being ray vision power is more than a metaphor. It's a spiritual ability developed in solitude when the chosen become silent observers of the world and people around them. In the quiet, far from distractions that confuse most, the chosen sharpen their sensitivity to perceive what others hide. While many live only on the surface of things, the chosen dive deep, capturing subtleties and details that escape common vision. Imagine being in a room full of people, each wearing a carefully molded mask. They smile, talk, and interact, but only superficially. To the chosen one, these masks are transparent. They see the cracks, the contradictions, the hidden emotions that escape in a quick glance or an involuntary gesture. This reading ability is like having a sixth sense that alerts the chosen to what is really happening around them. The chosen do not develop this they don't just suddenly develop this X-ray vision. It's a skill they pick up in the loneliest moments, when they're observing human behavior without filters. It's like the world becomes a stage, and they're the attentive audience member, picking up on every movement, every word, and, more importantly, what's not said. During these moments of introspection, they hone their perception. They learn to read people's energy, to sense hidden intentions, even when words are sweet and gestures friendly. Think of Jesus, who, in ray vision happens when you're feeling lonely and you start to notice how people act. It's like you see the whole world as a stage, and you're the audience member who notices everything. You start to pick up on things like body language and tone of voice, and you start to understand what people aren't saying. When you're in that headspace, you start to pick up on energy. You start to understand what people are really thinking, even if they're being sweet or friendly. Think about Jesus, who, when he was with the Pharisees and the doctors of the law, saw through their fancy clothes and words. He called them whitewashed tombs, beautiful on the outside, but full of rot inside. Jesus wasn't fooled by how things looked because his spiritual vision allowed him to see what people were really like. The same is true for the chosen ones. After years of just watching and listening, they learn to tell what's real and what's not. This ability is super important in a world where it's hard to tell what someone's intentions are. It's like they can see past the surface, reading people and situations better than most. They're often the first to pick up on the vibe of a place, sensing the energy in the air. It's not just about seeing, but feeling, and that gives them a sense of safety and a knack for avoiding bad situations. Imagine being in front of someone who smiles, but secretly resents you. Most people would smile and think the person is friendly, but the chosen see right through it. They see the weight on the shoulders, the gaze that's not looking at you, the silence between words. All of this adds up to a bigger picture that the chosen can read like an open book. This ability makes them almost immune to lies and manipulations because nothing hidden stays hidden for long before their sharp vision point. One of the secrets of the chosen ones have already faced their own demons, so they recognize them when they see them in others. Solitude trains the chosen to observe without immediately judging, but with discernment. They don't rush to conclusions because they know the truth often lies in deeper layers. This patience in observing and waiting reveals an inner strength because the chosen are willing to see what many prefer to ignore. In the Bible, Jesus shows us an example of this discernment when he meets the Samaritan woman at the well. He sees beyond her appearance and words, revealing truths about her life that she herself tried to hide. The woman was astonished, not only because he knew her story, but because he saw what was. She was amazed because he knew her story and saw what was in her heart. The chosen have the same ability. They can see the outside, but also read the soul. This ability to see beyond appearances also lets them find kindred souls, people who have a journey marked by truth and depth. When two such souls meet, the bond is immediate because they recognize authenticity in each other. It's as if their energies naturally align without needing a lot of words or explanations. In silence, they develop an almost supernatural sensitivity. They can tell when someone is in conflict, even if their words say otherwise. They can sense the hidden pain in a smile and the fear hiding behind bravery. This deep connection with the truth is what makes them stand out from 80% of people, who often get. They're in sync, and they have a strong internal compass that guides them through life. They're able to understand others better than most, and they have a knack for reading people. They're also super focused and make quick decisions. They've honed these skills over time, and they're some of the most powerful and fascinating gifts you can have. The chosen ones are lost in appearances and deceptions, but they've got it figured out. For them, seeing is more than looking. It's feeling, perceiving, and understanding. They've got hypermental clarity, focus, and quick decisions. It's one of the most powerful and fascinating gifts they develop in solitude. While many are lost in doubts, insecurities, and distractions, the chosen ones find in solitude the perfect ground to cultivate a sharp, focused, and decisive mind. This clarity is like an internal compass that always points in the right direction, guiding the chosen one through life's complexities with a precision that confounds others. What most people don't realize is that this hyper-clarity doesn't happen overnight. It's the result of countless moments of introspection. It's all about being able to think clearly. You know, like having a clear mind. It's like having an inner compass that always points you in the right direction. It helps you deal with all the complexities of life. But here's the thing, this clarity doesn't just happen overnight. It's the result of a lot of moments of introspection, where you're isolated from all the external noise, and you're forced to deal with the true nature of your thoughts and desires. It's a constant refining process, like polishing a rough diamond, until it shines its brightest. When the world around you is silent, you learn to distinguish between what's essential and what's not. Silence is the best. When you're all alone, you can really think about what's going on in your head and your life. It's like polishing a diamond to make it as good as possible. When there's nothing around you, you can figure out what's important and what's not. Silence helps you see things clearly. When you're by yourself, you have to deal with all the thoughts that usually get muffled by all the noise of everyday life. Just sit there and listen to your own breathing. At first, your mind will try to fill the silence with memories, worries, and all sorts of thoughts. But after a while, you'll start to hear all this mental noise. When you're all by yourself, the chosen ones find themselves in a state where they have to deal with all the thoughts that usually get muffled by daily distractions. Picture this: you're sitting in an empty room, and the only sounds you hear are your own breathing. At first, your mind tries to fill this void with memories, worries, and internal dialogues. But over time, this mental noise starts to fade. Your thoughts start to get organized, and chaos gives way to order. It's like a turbulent sea that, after the storm, becomes calm and crystal clear. This clarity allows the chosen ones to see things as they really are, without distortions caused by emotions or fear. Think of Moses on Mount Sinai, all by himself, receiving direct instructions from God on how to guide the people. The clarity he got at the top of the mountain, away from all distractions, gave him the strength to make decisions that impacted generations. Similarly, the chosen ones find in the solitary heights of their minds the guidance needed to navigate their challenges. The chosen one learns to make peace with silence, and this silence becomes the stage where all truths are revealed. It's like they have a mental clarity that helps them make decisions that affect future generations, and when they're all by themselves, they can figure out how to deal with whatever challenges they're facing. They learn to be at peace with silence, and that silence becomes the place where all the truths come out. There's nowhere left to hide their intentions, fears, or insecurities. They look at every decision, analyze it, and refine it until they've got something that's pure and true. It's in this process that they develop the ability to make quick, almost instinctive decisions because they've already trained their minds to act with clarity and conviction. This mental clarity shows up in the chosen's day-to-day lives in a pretty impressive way. When they're dealing with a complicated situation, they don't get lost in a bunch of options. Instead, they can quickly figure out the best path, like a knife that cuts right to the point. This decision-making process is like They're not impulsive, they know themselves and their priorities. The chosen act this way too. Their decisions might seem unusual or abrupt to others, but they understand the weight and consequences of each choice. They don't let indecision paralyze them. This ability to cut the unnecessary and focus on the essential is what the chosen ones are able to make decisions based on what they know is right, not based on what others might think. They've got this special ability to cut out what's not important and focus on what is. This sets them apart and makes them action-oriented in a world where people are hesitant. Solitude, which a lot of people try to avoid, becomes a place where the chosen ones can really hone their mental strength. They find the time to reflect and rethink their lives without all the outside noise and chaos. They stop and think about their decisions, question their choices, and most importantly, learn to trust themselves. Every decision made in solitude is a chance to learn more about themselves. This confidence, honed through solitude, becomes a kind of sixth sense. Point 4, pain sensor, deep empathy with others. The chosen ones have an incredible ability to feel other people's pain so deeply it's almost supernatural. It's like they have an invisible sensor that picks up on hidden emotions, unspoken suffering, and fears that people hide even from themselves. This pain sensor doesn't just happen. It's developed in the loneliest moments, when the chosen ones are forced to face their own pain without filters or distractions are a thing, and they make it hard to connect with other people's pain. But the chosen ones can see past all that and really understand what's going on inside other people. They're not just seeing the surface, they feel what's going on deep down, as if the pain of others is their own. This ability to connect is a gift that helps both the giver and the receiver. It's like a constant invitation to carry others even if you can't see it. There's a lot of pressure on the chosen. To understand the chosen's pain sensor, you have to understand the process they go through on their own. When they're isolated, they have to deal with their emotions in a very intense way. There are no distractions to soften the sharp edges of sadness, fear, or anxiety. Each feeling is experienced in its fullness, with no escape. It's in this deep dive into their own pain that the chosen learn to identify the nuances and shadows that make up human suffering. Imagine being in a dark room where each corner holds a piece of your history. You'd rather forget it, but in the silence, these memories come to life and the chosen are forced to face each one of them. This direct confrontation with their vulnerabilities teaches them a fundamental truth: everyone carries their own wounds. This awareness opens the door to genuine empathy because they recognize in others the same kind of pain they have already faced in themselves. The empathy of the chosen is like an always active spiritual antenna picking up subtle signals that others emit without realizing it. When someone is going through a tough time, the chosen can relate and be there for them. You'd rather forget, but in silence, these memories come to life and the chosen ones are forced to face each one of them. This direct confrontation with their vulnerabilities teaches them a fundamental truth: everyone carries their own wounds. This awareness opens the door to genuine empathy because they recognize in others the same kind of pain they have already faced in themselves. The empathy of the chosen is like an always active spiritual antenna picking up subtle signals that others emit without realizing it. When someone is going through a tough time, this pain manifests in ways that most people don't notice. A lost gaze, a forced smile, a silence that weighs more than it should. To the chosen, these signals are as clear as spoken words. They perceive the tension in the shoulders, the hesitation in words, and even the missing sparkle in the eyes. These are clues that reveal an internal world that few are willing to show. This ability to feel what is unspoken is a rare gift that allows the chosen ones to connect deeply with those around them. It's as if, when looking at someone, the chosen one can see through layers of defenses and reach right to the core of pain. It's not unusual for people to feel immediate relief in the presence of a chosen one, even without understanding why. They feel seen and understood in a way they rarely experience, as if there was finally someone who truly understands without needing explanations. This gift isn't just about feeling others' pain, it's about turning this perception into a source of wisdom and connection. The chosen ones use their pain sensor as a compass to guide their interactions. They know they can tell when someone needs a comforting word, when silence is the best response, or when simply being present is enough. They've got this wisdom from being alone, and it makes them empathetic and spiritual guides for those around them. This ability makes the chosen ones popular with people looking for support, even when they don't really understand why. It's like they intuitively know that the chosen ones can offer a kind of invisible healing. They're the confidants who listen without judging, the counselors who offer a new perspective without imposing their opinions. This deep empathy is what this makes the chosen ones like true beacons of light in a world full of emotional darkness. They're like time alchemists, turning solitude into wisdom and joy. The chosen ones have a rare and precious ability: they can turn lonely time into something extraordinary. For them, loneliness isn't a burden, but a spiritual laboratory where sadness turns into wisdom and joy. This time alchemy is one of the chosen ones' most sublime superpowers because it allows them to find a home within themselves, where silence becomes a sacred space for growth and self-discovery. While lots of people are always running from loneliness, always looking for other people or trying to block out the noise of the world, the chosen people embrace being alone as a really special opportunity. They realize that they can find the space they need to think, meditate, and connect with the deepest part of their being in the quiet. It is in this silence that the magic happens. The chosen don't just deal with loneliness by seeking out other people or distracting themselves with noise. They actually embrace it as a chance to reflect, meditate, and connect with their deepest selves. It's in this silence that magic happens, and time, which a lot of people see as wasted, becomes a treasure trove of possibilities. For the chosen, being alone is like entering a daily spiritual retreat, even in the midst of ordinary life. Solitude becomes a portal for introspection, where each moment is a chance to dive into the depths of their own emotions, thoughts, and aspirations. It's in this quiet space that The chosen ones work hard to turn their life experiences into wisdom. They're always thinking, praying, and connecting with the divine. They're like the hermits you see in art, always seeking inner truth. They don't need to be alone, but they do have this mindset. They know true wealth isn't about money or approval, but about finding peace and wisdom. For them, being alone is like a spiritual retreat, even in regular life. They use solitude as a chance to think about their emotions, thoughts, and goals. In that quiet space, they start to see the layers of life that most people miss. The chosen ones don't just sit and think about being alone. They see it as an opportunity to grow. They're not just sitting there, they're celebrating those moments as chances to improve. Like medieval alchemists trying to turn regular metals into gold, the chosen ones are looking for ways to transform their experiences. The chosen ones work hard to turn their life experiences into wisdom. They're always thinking, praying, and connecting with the divine. They're like the medieval alchemists, but instead of trying to turn base metals into gold, they're turning life experiences into wisdom. They're not really isolating themselves, but they do have this mindset. They understand that true wealth is found in the peace and wisdom they cultivate within themselves. It's like they're turning alone time into a journey of self-discovery. Discovery and joy. Many people go through life without ever really stopping to think, but the chosen ones use solitude to ask important questions. Who am I? What is my purpose? How can I better serve the world? These questions fuel their search for meaning and guide them towards a life lived with purpose. They know that every experience, no matter how simple, can become a valuable lesson when time is well spent. This ability to create a home in their own company is one of the greatest achievements of the chosen ones. They become emotionally independent, not out of coldness, but because they have discovered. We all have an inexhaustible source of love and acceptance inside us. They don't look outside for what they have already found inside. That's why they live with a lightness and joy that can overcome any situation. So, my friends, the chosen have a special way of making solitude work for them. Instead of getting lost in silence, they find strength, clarity, and even joy. They turn alone time into moments of pure connection with themselves and come out even stronger. Have you ever thought about what solitude could teach you if you let it be your ally?